Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
The lore and analysis of Father Gascoigne. So Father Gascoigne is the first mandatory boss in the game Bloodborne. He's a very tall and eerie middle-aged man with gray hair and a beard. His outfit consists of a thick leathery garb and a blindfold. He's an experienced hunter for the Healing Church equipped with a pistol and an axe, and he truly proves to be quite the challenge for a first boss. For me personally, he's probably one of my favorite intro bosses ever, but who is Father Gascoigne and how did he go from a loving father and noble hunter to a bloodthirsty beast and our enemy? So let's dive into his story to get a better understanding of the character. So to start, Father Gascoigne was a priest who later in his life traveled to Yharnam and joined the Healing Church as a hunter. It's not really known what made him want to join the church as a hunter, but during this time he was paired with another powerful hunter named Henrik, and the two of them were quite the duo as their fame and reputation as powerful hunters had spread. Eventually, Father Gascoigne would fall in love with a woman named Viola, and the two of them would marry and have 2 daughters, although their names are not known. Quick fact, I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not, but they say that Henrik is actually the father of Gascoigne. The father of Gascoigne's wife, Viola. Eventually, Gascoigne would leave the church, although he would still be a hunter. Gascoigne was a loving father and a husband, at least from what we can tell, although he was also addicted to the thrill of the hunt. It had gotten to the point where Gascoigne would even forget who his family was. So to combat this, his wife would play a little tune from a small music box, and this tune would remind Gascoigne of who he was and his love for his family. In the music box, it contains a message signed by Viola and Gascoigne. I don't know if they ever mentioned what the message actually says, but it's supposed to be really significant to Gascoigne and Viola. So the music box is so significant that you can even use it as a way to stun Gascoigne during your encounter with him as the player. So Father Gascoigne, again consumed by his bloodlust, continued to fight and hunt beasts, every night slaying monsters and losing himself more and more and more, until one night his family noticed that he never came home from the hunt. Concerned and frightened, Viola went out to look for her husband as quickly as she could, leaving her 2 daughters in the house. Eventually, Viola had rushed so fast that she forgot the music box that would help calm Father Gascoigne. Father Gascoigne, again consumed by his bloodlust, continued to fight and hunt beasts, every night slaying monsters and losing himself more and more and more, until one night his family noticed that he had not come home. Concerned and frightened, Viola went out to look for her husband as quickly as she could, leaving her 2 daughters in the house. Unfortunately, Viola had rushed so fast that she forgot the music box that would help calm Father Gascoigne. What happens next is unclear, but when we the hunter go into the boss arena where we fight Father Gascoigne, we can eventually find Viola's lifeless body. She was murdered, although unclear by who, but the majority seem to think it was Father Gascoigne that did it. And at this point, Father Gascoigne has completely lost himself. Now we're going to talk about our encounter with Gascoigne as the player. So our interaction with Father Gascoigne is in 2 places. So he is found in the Odin Chapel where we fight him, but we can also summon him as a helpful battle buddy when fighting the optional first boss, the Cleric Beast. So while his story is tragic, it is fun to fight alongside him and get a glimpse of what it was like to hunt with him. I didn't fight with him the first playthrough, but the second playthrough I got to fight with him, and it was pretty cool. So when you first see him in Odin Chapel, he says the line, "Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them sooner or later." You can kind of tell by his dialogue how much he's lost himself in this gruesome hunt. The actual fight with Gascoigne is very intense and really shows you how the game and combat in Bloodborne is supposed to be played, but let's dig into the boss fight. So the fight begins once you step into Odin Chapel, and you cannot progress in the story until you defeat him. The arena is relatively large, but there's so many tombstones and trees that can easily get in your way when you're trying to dodge and maneuver during the fight, and it makes it kind of annoying. So Gascoigne consists of 3 stages, and right from the get-go he comes in aggressively and deals quite a bit of damage, especially during your first playthrough. It took me quite a few tries to get his moves down as well as get used to the arena and controls, and then the second time I faced him was when I understood the parrying skill more. So when I say second time, I mean like my second playthrough of Bloodborne. He swings his axe like crazy and fires his gun, which can easily stagger you. Once you understand how to dodge and time your attacks, and once you kind of get his movesets down, it kind of gets a little bit more manageable. And then during his second phase, he extends his axe, which gives him a lot more reach and damage, which again becomes really annoying, especially with the tombstones and trees. So while there are many openings in this phase, it's also easier to die. Finally, we get to his last stage where he transforms into a huge beast and lets out a very memorable scream. In this stage, he is also a complete monster, slashing and swinging like crazy. He's much stronger and faster in this stage. It gets a lot more aggressive and a lot more intense. The Molotov cocktails come in handy in this phase as he is weak to fire. If you have the music box, which can also be given to you by Father Gascoigne's daughter, you'll be able to use that as a way to kind of slow down and stun Gascoigne, giving you a good chance at attacking. Now, I didn't use this method personally, but a lot of people did, and they say it makes the fight a lot easier. So if you're struggling with that, you might want to go that route. So after beating him, you can hear his final words are "forgive me," and you as the hunter are left with a satisfaction that's just absolutely amazing. You're then able to proceed in the game by getting access to the Cathedral Ward and a shortcut to the Healing Church Workshop. You can also get his outfit from the shop if you want. This is the last time we see Gascoigne. Now let's talk about some theories and some questions we as the player may have. Alright, so in this section we're going to talk about some theories and questions regarding Father Gascoigne and his story. These theories come from a variety of internet sources, and some of them are my own opinions. Feel free to add your own theories and questions in the comment section below. Why did Gascoigne join the Healing Church? It's not really known why he joins the Healing Church in the first place. I've seen some people say that it was a way to get like fame and notoriety from being a hunter and kind of follow in the steps of Ludwig and his hunters. Others say he was seeking the city's special healing blood, since that was what Yharnam and the church were known for. The blood that they had was supposedly like a cure for everything mental and physical. But the church's blood-based practices were not exactly safe. That's kind of what drove Father Gascoigne to madness in the first place, which was very common among hunters who had this blood. So me personally, I'm thinking it was a way to get fame and notoriety. I don't know why, I just kind of lean more towards that. There might be some other theories out there that I haven't found yet. Feel free to comment about that below, as I said earlier. So the next question, why did he leave the church and separate from Henrik? So it's not exactly known why he leaves the church or when he leaves the church, but there seems to be multiple reasons for this. Some say this was due to him having a family and prioritizing them over the church. This theory is the one I tend to lean towards because it just kind of makes sense to me. Others say it was due to him being consumed by bloodlust and losing his humanity, which caused him to kind of be a threat to everyone around him. Another theory is that he parted ways with the church when he discovered that the beasts he was killing were previously human, and some were even hunters like him. And because of this, he could no longer do what the church asked of him. So why did he continue to hunt, though? So why did Father Gascoigne continue to hunt? Why did he leave the church and continue to hunt? Personally, I think he continued to hunt for two reasons. One was to protect his family from the beasts, and two was simply because he was addicted to it. We know Father Gascoigne was a family man and loved his wife and daughters, which also helps further the theory mentioned previously regarding why he left the church in the first place. A quick side theory, some say he might not have been home that night because he was distancing himself from his family to protect them. I'm not quite sure if this is true or not, but it does make sense to me. Anyway, so that was the main reason and initial reason I think he continued to hunt after leaving the church. The second reason of him being addicted to the hunt slowly became more prevalent. He became so addicted to the bloodlust he simply couldn't stop. This addiction also tragically leads to the death of his wife. So who killed Gascoigne's wife? Most people are going to say Gascoigne killed his wife when he transformed and kind of lost himself in that addiction to the hunt. He was no longer able to kind of distinguish between friend and foe. So when Viola went out to look for Gascoigne, she sees him in the Odin Chapel, and Gascoigne kind of kills her without even realizing who she was. This theory does make sense to me. I understand it, but I found a theory on Reddit that actually also makes sense to me, and I kind of lean towards that one. So this theory states that Viola found Gascoigne, and the two of them were attacked. So they seek refuge in the Odin Chapel, and while Gascoigne was trying to protect his wife, he goes berserk and his wife runs away. Then a beast murders her, and this is supposedly the scene showing Gascoigne hacking away at a beast with his thoughts clouded in bloodlust. I kind of like this theory. I'll leave a link for that Reddit post down below. So the next question, why is the music box so significant? The music box is significant to Father Gascoigne and Viola, as can be seen when you're given the box by his daughter and by the reaction he has when you play it. This was a sacred memento for Gascoigne and his wife, symbolizing their love, family, and innocence. We know this when the daughter gives you the box and says the following dialogue.
I mustn't forget. If you find my mum, give her this music box. I'm so silly when I'm off without it.
From the dialogue and the tune, we as the hunter can tell how strong and significant the box is. Supposedly this melody also has a connection to Murgo the Wet Nurse, who was one of the later bosses in the game. I think this melody was supposed to be a similar tune to when you fight Murgo or something like that. I honestly didn't even notice when I played. Again, feel free to comment down below your thoughts and theories to these questions. Overall, Father Gascoigne's story is quite tragic, unfortunate, and sad. It helps us understand the character better, and as a boss fight, it's truly incredible and intense. The appearance of the character is chilling, and the whole fight is just fast and heavy, and I love it. Really shows the player the intensity of the overall game, and is a great intro for what the player will be experiencing throughout the game. Most people are going to be struggling with this fight initially. I'm one of those people. Beating him took quite a long time, but after I beat him, oh my god, it was just such an incredible feeling. Anyway, yeah, a memorable boss fight among many players. He's my favorite boss in the game and one of my favorite first bosses in gaming history.